Yo, what's going on, fam, out there? It's your boy Tahir Johnson, back kicking off the first episode of the new year, the Cannabis Diversity Report. Got my brother Tucky Blunt, owner of Blunts and More, the first social equity dispensary owner of the world. Tucky, what's good, bro? How
What's
you?
up, bud? How you doing? Thanks for having me. Early morning on the West Coast.
Yeah, man, super early. Appreciate you coming through early, man.
Yo, what's going on, fam, out there?
Getting your wake and bake together with me, man. What you smoking on?
Honestly, as always, gumbo. Probably like 3 strains in here. I don't know which three. I just grabbed 3 and rolled them. You know how that goes.
Word, you already know. Top shelf Tucky, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on here.
Honor. Pleasure is mine.
Yeah, man, and I think your story is one that's important, and that people in the cannabis industry definitely need to know about. I think it's definitely inspiring because people that come from where we come from, for somebody like you to be the first one, blazing that path, it really means a lot, man. So,
man, it's dope. It's humbling. But I know I have more to do. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just be the only one. There has to be, more social equity dispensary owners, even if not social equity, just Black people in cannabis in general. So anything I can do to help move that forward, I'm on board,
Yeah, most def, bro. So, tell a little bit about your story. How did you get into the cannabis industry, and how did you come to start Blunts and More?
So I got in the cannabis industry because my whole family is weed heads. Both parents sold weed in their days. It was around our family. Weed was never, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, was never bad to me. We knew that you could go to jail if you got caught selling it, but it was never like, our family never made it bad. We went through DARE and all that. Weed wasn't a drug. Mm-hmm. So at age 16, I had been working since I was 13, just general jobs. Back in Oakland, we had a program called YEP, where it was a youth employment program. So I got a job at 13, been working all the stuff, detail cars with my dad. But at age 16, I realized I like to smoke weed and I think I can sell it. So might as well start selling it. Started selling it at 16. That was 1996. And all of my clients were either my partners or people I worked with. And once I realized I can make more money at work than I made at work, it was on. You know what I mean? So kept doing that. Like I said, every job I ever had, I sold weed at. I worked for Alameda County like 13 years. I made more money at Alameda County selling weed than I made at Alameda County. So I just kept on that path, but I was never on a corner. The way I sold my weed, I didn't want to go to jail. I figured if I was on the corner, I'm advertising, I'm selling weed, which is illegal. So I'm going to go to jail. So I never really was a corner standing type of dude. I had a turf from a turf. I love on my turf. My granny house still on my turf, but I was never a turf dude. Fast forward 8 years in the game, no police interaction. Everything was great. 2004, I'm coming back from the shooting range, something I did all the time because I was on the track to be a probation officer for Alameda County. And the dude I went to the shooting range with snitched on me. We came back to the turf, dropped me off. And mind you, at this time, I started selling weed on the turf because I had a son coming, my 15-year-old. He was on his way, and I was in between jobs. I was starting at Alameda County on a Monday. He knew this. He snitched on me Thursday. So went to jail, bailed out the same day. And we're going to get to this, which is crazy, but the same cop who arrested me that day, I now work with now, and he helped me clear all my records. So I'm Charlie Valid all over again. It's all because of the same cop who arrested me in 2004. Cold shit. So, catch my case, bail out. Mind you, prior to that, I had tried to open my first dispensary in 2001 and was told Black people would never open shops. I worked at several dispensaries. Like once I found out that you could open a legal store to sell weed at, my goal was to do that. In 1999, I told my granny in 1999 when she came out of a dispensary and told me that's what that was. I said I wanted one. Rest her soul. That's my granny right here. So that was my path. I wanted to sell weed legally. When I caught the case, I was like, all right, whatever. I'll still sell weed. I just won't be on the turf no more. Went to Oaksterdam 2008, graduated from there. That was when people was like, you going to a weed school? Laughing at me like, why are you doing that? Whatever. It paid off. Fast forward, All my years, still trapping, still working, all the shit. I was working for Tesla. I was a certified detail trainer. They called me off the street to go teach people how to detail cars. While doing that, I get a phone call from Mike Marshall, who is the voice of I Got Five on it, the guy that actually saying, I got him. I got five. So Mike Marshall, homeboy, he called me and said, hey, dog, I got somebody. No, he didn't even get to the point. He first said, you ever caught a case for weed in Oakland? I'm like, that's a weird question, but yes. And he was like, well, I know some sisters out of Atlanta that they're working with a program in Oakland called the Social Equity Program. And they need some people that fit certain criteria. So while he telling me about it, he said a word that they used in Oaksterdam that I'll never forget called reformations. And they said in Oaksterdam, that's 1 day, 1 year, they were going to have to give some reformations for people who went to jail for cannabis in a space that's legal now. So as soon as he said that word, I picked up my laptop that I got from Tesla, and started, typing in social equity, seeing what it was about. And I was like, all right, it's cool. What they want from me? He was like, nothing, just to meet with you. We met, we talked. This was October of 17. We submitted our application December of 17. It was 66 applications submitted. 36 made it through. January 31st, 18, it was a bingo ball style drawing for the social equity licenses. You had to take your bingo ball, throw it in the chamber, they roll it around. If they picked your ball, you lost. If you were one of the 4 remaining balls in the chamber, you won a license. I put our ball in 3rd overall, and we was one of the last 4 remaining balls. So that's definitely some destiny shit. Like, this wasn't no luck. Like, I got put in this position because I was supposed to be, but I just didn't know. You know what I mean? So it happened. We won. And then all the fuckery starts. Find a location, find funding so you can open a store. Basically throwing you to the wolves because they didn't have funding at the time, the city of Oakland. Yeah. So, we scrummaged around trying to find people to give us money and not take our equity. Fast forward, we met with Grizzly Peak after a bunch of, other weird meetings, got with Grizzly Peak and set up a deal. The deal gave them no ownership. We did some increases of rent, some other increases of other things, gave them a percentage for being like a manager off of net, but no ownership in the store. But what I will say is, had I known what I know now about my equity license and the value of it, my former partner wouldn't have 50% of it either when we started off. You understand what I'm saying? Because there was no need for you to have 50%. And listen to me, people that's listening to this. If you have an equity license, there's no reason for any of your partners. If it's your license, there's no reason for any of your partners to have any percentage of your license. It's your license. You can negotiate deals for your business, but not your license. Keep your license. So we do that. We get with them. 2 black people come into a room full of white people. They give us $650,000, $250 for product, $400 for store build out. And we opened November 18. Had a great year because you can't really count November, December of 18, but 19, we had a good year. We did about 5.2, and we did 5.2 with mismanagement of monies, bad hires, all kind of the ups and downs of being in the business, and we still did 5. And fast forward to now, I'm in the process of reopening because me and my partner had to go our separate ways. She was on some weird shit. She's opened a dispensary in another state while being the manager for my dispensary and not managing. And it kind of sucks because she's a sister. And if this was a white person, we'd be talking about it front page news. But since it's a black person, it's kind of like, no, let's keep it on the hush. Can't keep it on the hush. What happened is what happened. So fast forward to now, like I said, I'm in the process of re-grand opening. I'm not telling y'all the date yet because I can't, but working on re-grand opening and just continuing what I started. Like, my store should represent Oakland. Like, I really, 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 y'all don't know this, but me and T talk offline. Like, I really embrace Oakland and the culture of Oakland and the weed culture in Oakland. And my store didn't reflect that. And it bothered me, but I wasn't in control of what went in the store. Our partnership was set up to where I'm the field nigga and you the house nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically how it ran. But I would still kind of be like, well, damn, why we don't have no equity vendors on the shelf? Or why this and why that? And it was always met with, that's all finna change now. There's people that's gonna watch this that know what I'm talking about, and they're gonna be like, man, about time. So just my whole life has been, I guess, gearing me toward this. I've been selling t-shirts since I was 16. I've been washing cars since I was 9. I've been throwing parties in the Bay Area, comedy shows, music events, concerts since I was a teen. And all of that has come full circle with this space. Cause now, I can do it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm going with all the same circles and just expanding my playbook, my black book, and just moving around like I did in the streets the same way I'm doing now. And it's led to interviews and shit like this. So that's kind of like the long way around about. It's hella shit in there that we could probably touch on, but that's basically how I got where I am.
Yeah, we will, man. And that part that you said at the end really is the important part. Being authentic and being able to do what you do in a way where it's about putting your hood on, right? Putting your people on, representing, showing where you came from, and setting that path and example of what that can be like. And that's really the thing that's missing the most in the industry. And that's why it's important to be here. But like you said, it's so much stuff that we got to talk about just with what you said, just with some of the stuff you said, man. And we have our social equity scholarship program. And so with that, we have about 100 social equity applicants and operators from around the country that are in the program. And one of the things is great for them to get to hear, like you dropping gems. You talked about keeping the ownership of your, like the equity in your license, right? Like you own it, you're the equity person, you're not giving that up. Could you talk about that a little bit more? Like, and then even talk about that process, because for you starting out, what was it like? What were some of the things you had to do to get access to the capital? I know that whole game was a struggle, especially because that's the biggest thing, right? Where we come from, we don't have nobody with the bag. So you had to go get it. So what was that like?
So going to get it was like putting yourself in the water as a bunch of blood and there's nothing but sharks in there. Because everybody wants to buy you out for crumbs because they don't think you know the value of your shit. And my thing is, if you offer me $1 million, I got to be worth at least 10 times that. That sounds like something I heard Master P say. You feel me? And that's just, that's real spill. But we were kind of like set up on like a reverse war on drugs when we got our license because there was no funding available. There was none. We had to go secure funding. So that meant we kind of was at the liberty of these places. Like, oh, you don't want to, you don't want to play ball? Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? But we had to have that attitude because we had the license. You need us. So like a lot of people have heard about the incubation. We did not do any incubation. I 100% own this license. Me and Brittany was 50-50 in this license. Now I own 100% of the license. There's no incubation. As far as like the capital that you need, if you're trying to start a dispensary, you need about $3 million. Only reason we got away needing $650K was because the person who lent us the money already had a storefront, but they didn't get a license. So it was like, what you gonna do with this store? Just let it sit here, or let us rent it from you for increased amount of rent that we would normally pay to keep you off our back for ownership. Like I said, we structured our deal. This is something else. The city of Oakland had a technical assistance program at the time for us to go through, but at that time they weren't up on their shit. They was new to it too. Shout out Zach and Wanda. Like we was funking. Like I didn't like them at all at first, but it was because they didn't have the training to do what they needed to do. So how could they coach me? So now over 2 years, they've had time to grow, learn, get with people in the space. And I'm actually talking to them now. We're actually building our relationship and being able to work because, like I said, the city kind of threw us out to dry. There was no help. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, how you got a program set up, but then you throw us out there and you don't help. But had they not threw the program out, we wouldn't be talking now, because it takes 2 years, 3 years to start, reeling stuff in and getting it back how it should be and learning from the mistakes. But had they waited to learn from the mistakes before they threw it out, there wouldn't be an equity program. So it's like, okay, yeah, you kind of fucked us, but it worked out for us. My problem is why none of the other dispensaries are open. It's supposed to be 8 equity dispensaries open right now in Oakland. There's only 1. That's a problem.
So what happened to the other ones that were in the lottery? What did none of them got? What was the problem?
So the way it was supposed to happen was you had a certain amount of time to get LOIs. Once you get a letter of intent, to rent to you. Once you got that, it gave you more time to do what you needed to do, build out, et cetera, et cetera. Those other 3 people, I don't know what happened. One of them signed with Have a Heart. Have a Heart never opened because they got bought out by High Times, and then High Times sold again. So that person is just right now just sitting there collecting whatever money he got from that first signing away of Have a Heart. And Have a Heart tried to buy me out too. They got somebody working for them named Josh Chase. And he tried to have them, buy me out too. But I'm like, nah, bro. And then why are you doing that? You black. You want me to sell to them? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. But it was just if you didn't have that stuff in time, it was supposed to go to the next person down on the list. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then they had a whole nother new drawing for 4 new licenses. I don't know where they at either, but I do know it takes time. We were a rare case to open that fast. But if you got to open and do all this, you're not making any money. You got to set up a space. You got to, deck it out, do whatever you got to do. Where that money coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, you still got to pay rent on this space while you doing that. So then you are kind of like, well, shit, maybe I should take this $1 million from this person just offering it to me so I can walk away. But you can't do that. Mm-hmm. You got to really, really know your value and know your worth. And, white men not going to tell you that. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to be us.
Yep. Yeah, we got to drop the gems ourselves. And one of the things, like you said, there, especially now, there's some social equity programs where people can get access to information. But when you started out, it wasn't there. And access to information is one of the important things too, just even the education and knowing how to get started. Like you said, you went to Oaksterdam all the way back in 2008, right? And most of our people from the hood of where we're from, that's why I try to make sure, like there's a technical, like a business industry part that we have to know too, to be able to transition over here. Yep. So I'm talking a little bit I went to Oaksterdam too, by the way, shout out to Dale. Oaksterdam. But talk about that experience, like, what set you, how did you get the insight that was important, and what was that experience like? What did you learn from there?
Honestly, the reason why I felt that was important, like I said, I had been working at Cannabis Club since '99, and just being around the circle, and I've been hearing about weed schools, and I just felt like, hey, if you got a weed school, it's going to teach me legal, that's going to teach me stuff about growing, because I started growing in 2001, and if you're going to teach me all this in a classroom setting, and it can help me get toward my goal of opening a dispensary, and all you want is $350, that's a zip of weed back then. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? For a 9-month course to learn what I learned a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Our course catalog, our course booklet or whatever for the course was the Jorge Cervantes book, the indoor marijuana book, the Bible. Yeah. That was our book. You know what I'm saying? So was a trip. I already had every course book that we have for Oaksterdam. I had in my house already, because as soon as I started growing weed, I wanted to learn more about it. So I did my research, got the books I needed. So it's just like Oaksterdam is a good thing. I don't know how they do now, but I'm pretty sure they haven't fell off with how they teach, but it's a definite good tool to learn the business.
Well, right now for COVID, it's all online. So, But so you know how to grow too, huh? Are you any plans for you to do cultivate? Any plans for you to do any cultivation or anything like that?
Oh, heck yeah! But I don't plan to me personally to cultivate. I'm gonna just hire cultivators and like rent space from them, and then kind of coach them on how I want it grown. I might get back into growing, but unless my one particular, I got 2 cousins that I grow with. If both of them get on board, then we'll do it. If it's not anybody but them, I'm not growing with nobody else. I will rent and find good flower, make sure it's fire, have them grow it how I want it. But if I'm gonna get back into me actually plant touching, trimming, and all that other shit, it's going to be with my 2 cousins. Because we grow niggas and like I've been selling my weed, my personal weed for my garden on the streets of Oakland since 2002. Now, granted, 2002 it wasn't as good as it was in 2005. You know what I'm saying? 2006, but I started incorporating. Once I realized I could grow, I started incorporating my weed with the weed I would buy on the streets. And once I realized nobody really noticed, I was like, all right, well, let me just try this. And I just did a whole run of just nothing but my weed, like 3 flavors, and gone. So I told certain people, I'm like, man, that's mine. They're like, man, you didn't grow that. I'm like, bro, that's me. And it was on. Like, and then even aside from that, I've been selling weed pastries since 2002. My rap name was the Cookie Man. This was before cookies or anything ever existed. And a lot of people, when cookies came out, thought that they stole it from me. They're like, man, who is these cookies niggas? I'm like, dude, cut it out. They sell weed. I'm talking about weed pastries, and my cookie is spelled different, Cookey, which was cookies was my key. That's why it was spelled like that, because cookies was my key to do something different. Now that's what all that spelling, all that was all for me just being, different. And I'm talking about, bro, you could literally come. I was a store before Blunt Some More. You could come get from me at any given time weed, pills, cookies, carrot cakes, banana nut breads, insurance cards. I used to make insurance cards for cars. Like, bro, I was just like, auto detail, whatever you need. You feel me? So it's like, for people to walk in my store that's been buying weed from me since 1996, that still come in my store and buy weed from me now. Come on, man.
Yeah. Now, well, that's L too, man. Because like you said, you had all that stuff, the pastries, man. Because you was actually making the pastries, huh? Your cooking game, crazy, bro. You be whipping some shit up, man.
So look, I cook. Now I cook. Everybody know I cook.
Whipping some stuff
up. The pastries I never wanted to make because I have kids, and to cook the weed down stinks a lot. So I never cooked. What I did, 2001, when I came back from Alabama State, I started going back to dispensaries. The dispensary I went to, shout out Paul, the dispensary I went to in Hayward, California, I was in there so tough that I'd be in the back in the safe. Like I used to go buy weed from him to sell to the turf. We had a good relationship. So one day I'm in there, I'm buying hella cookies. Because when I seen he had them, I'm like, all right, let me buy them. I eat them, I'm high. I buy a bunch of them, cut them up, put them on a platter, let all my homeboys eat them so they could test them. And I'm like, well, damn, this might be a market I can get into. So when I went one day, I'm like, bro, the cookies is good. You know, they tasty, they get me high, you know what I'm saying? Because back then, everybody was smoking purple. That's all we smoked was purple. So if you was going to be a cookie and got us high and I can talk you into eating it, it had to get us really high. So he said, well, man, the lady that makes them is right there. It was on and cracking. I met the lady, shout out to Erica. I just bought some cookies from her about a month or so ago, still 18 years later. Pulled up on her, was like, hey, man, I want to buy as much as I can from you, but we got to work on the recipe. It tastes like dirt, so I need you to make it taste good. And I need it to be strong because, you know, me and my niggas literally get up 8 in the morning and we'll smoke an eighth before 9. So I need to know, you know, what's what. And we got it dialed in. And 2002, I dropped myself as Cookie Man, put out an album, did all the graphics, and literally every party you see me at, I'm walking around with a cookie. I'm handing out cookies, you know, because I knew the only way I was going to get people to tap in is to try it. A lot of people wouldn't at first. They're like, man, I'm not eating no motherfucking cookie. It's not going to get me high. But then they started hearing the stories, you know what I'm saying? And then it's a trip now to see how many people want edibles. It's like, y'all late. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't the first person ever to do edibles, but as far as like selling them on the streets and sending them bi-coastal, I don't know nobody else that was doing that back then. You name them, I would like to meet them. You know what I mean? I'm talking about large clients. I was sending 5-6 dozen cookies to people way in Florida at college. You know what I'm saying? I was sending stuff to Texas, New York, and it was legal because it was baked goods. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, of course, we did packs too, but you know, that's a whole, you know, allegedly.
I didn't even know you rap though, man. So since we talk about hip hop, man, on the verses, man, who do you have? Who did you have? Who won that joint, man?
The Bay.
It's everybody, huh?
Bay. Yeah, like people that know me know E40 and Too Short are two of my favorite rappers. I don't give a fuck what you say about the linguistics or whatever. They got hits on top of hits. I'm from the era that they hits come from, so I'm just biased. You know what I'm saying? So when I seen that verses, I was like, I changed my trip to come back in time to see that verses because that was something that meant something to me. And I'm 40, so and from East Oakland, and most of Sickwood is my family. Most of the Dangerous Crew people I grew up with, like this, that the Bay Area won in that verses, and actually everybody did because y'all really got to hear how many hits these guys were a part of. You know what I'm saying? Like people be talking shit like I lived in Alabama. They bumped Too Short and E40 in Alabama. You know what I mean? Like, what are y'all talking about? So it's just certain people be acting weird. But yeah, man, I've rapped for shit since I was 3. My first actual performance on the stage rapping was my kindergarten graduation. I rapped at my junior high graduation at Frick. I just been on stage. I don't mind performing, but I never performed like to get famous, I guess. It was just I like to write, and I can pay for my own studio time. I'm gonna make an album, and that's what I did. And then literally, like, there's a cookie song on there that gives you full details on how the cookie's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really my life at the time. It was around the time I met my wife, so she's on the album a lot. Not her name or anything, but just stuff that we was going through at the time. Like it was dope. Like I still listen to my album now, but it's nothing I was trying to go famous off of. It was all to help sell the Cookie Man, help promote. Like there's some artists that like are super famous that I've had come perform at my parties before they were famous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just felt that they was gonna be next up, come perform at my party. Like I used to host comedy shows with comics that are known now that weren't known then. Like I always would believe in sharing my platform if I had an option to share my platform. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff I'm doing now is not new. And if you know me, you know, like, oh no, Tucky been doing this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about what's going on with me now. People that know me are able to vouch like, nah, this nigga not acting. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just no, he putting on for the camera. This is real. This is bruh. This how bruh been. So it's a good feeling to have that. You feel me?
Yeah, real talk, man. And Steven still nailed the fact that you keep multiple hustles is dope, man. I know you even got a couple things going on outside of the dispensary. So talk a little bit more about that, man.
Oh man, what I don't got go outside the dispensary. Distro license is coming. I plan to be one of the biggest distros ever. Can't say who my distro partners are. One, because he ain't locked in yet, but he coming. And the other one, I can't just because he can't be known based on the industry he's currently in. But working on my distro license, linking up with cultivators. My plan is to get with cultivators that aren't as big or not known by everybody, that got fire. Get with them, distro them to the dispensaries that I'm cool with. And so we can funnel their product into good dispensaries. And I want to take that model globally. Still trying to work on franchising blunts some more. I'm still in my apparel game, still doing t-shirts, got some collabs coming with some heavy hitters on apparel. Cause I've been, like I said, I've been selling t-shirts since when Breaking Bread came out, 95. My cousin had a t-shirt company, Breaking Bread, and then I made my first shirt in 97, Cell Click t-shirt.
I need that one right there you got on, man.
Oh man, Evolution of the Blunt. This was all, man, just brainstorming. And like I told you earlier, this is a pre-roll from Loud Pack. This is KGB Reserve. This is Lobo Canagar. This is Vessel Oil. This represents my cookie. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just wanted to show different ways over time that you could smoke. And these shirts were being sold to make money for other social equity people. Like, you know, when we got hit and stuff in the robbery, I made money for other people. Yeah. But just outside of that, I'm also doing consulting. I'm doing brand ambassador work. Like, my thing is Blunts and More is my store, but I can work for whoever I want to. So if you want to hire me and your check right and we can negotiate, then why not? You know what I'm saying? I'm not obligated to work just for Blunts and More. You know what I mean? That's just one of my businesses. Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. So it's like, you know,
Puff and Hove, they got multiple things. Like
exactly. So man, just and I'm spreading. I was asked yesterday, am I spreading myself too thin? And I'm like, nah, because I mean, most of this now with COVID being going on, with me not having to move around, I could do most of this from my bed, dog. The only reason I got up out my bed right now and didn't do this on the phone is because I have a whole ass office in here. It's like, bro, get up, go to your office and use it. But with me being home, I've been making the same moves from my bed. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you took COVID as a like, I don't know. Granted, people died. I hate that people die every year, but 2020 was good for me, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't.
From the crib, a lot of news from the crib, man.
I came from 2020 was good for me, good for my family. You know, people lost people, but just overall, as far as like people just getting in the slump, I've never been like that. I've been unemployed before. I've lived in a shelter before. Like, I know what it is to actually come back from $0 and get back up on your feet. You feel me? Like, there's nothing that's gonna keep me down. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, if something happened to Blunts and More right now, I have all my detail equipment in the garage. I'll be calling my clients. Hey, I'm back on. Let's go. They'll be excited because I got so many people mad I'm not detailing cars no more. But you know, like, it's in me. I'm a hustler. My wife a hustler. You know what I'm saying? I'm raising my kids to be hustlers and entrepreneurs. So yeah. What I don't got going on, T.
Yeah, shit. Yo, and detailing, like you said, doing that for Tesla, man, that had to be super dope, man. I'll tell you, I mess with Tesla hard, man. Like, I go hard on Tesla stock. I actually just sold a bunch of other stock and then bought all Tesla. I'm trying to be one of those people. I read about they call Teslaires, where they straight up put all their money in Tesla.
Tesla was cool. Don't get me wrong. Tesla was cool. I ended up getting fired for some fuck shit. So I literally was at home detailing cars. I already built my brand for detailing cars. Was cool. I wasn't even trapping no more. Like, I really stopped trapping in 2013. Like, real talk. I mean, I would keep weeding around for like maybe 5 or 10 people I know personally that I just, you know, they'd rather call me than anybody. But I had to stop trapping. I was full-time detailing. And I had a LinkedIn page, as I still do now. And somebody from Tesla reached out on LinkedIn and was like, hey, you know, we want to see about you coming to detail cars. And I'm like, what, you want me to come, you know, hit a few times, or what, you know, kind of did talking about? And it was like, no, we want you to come teach people how to detail cars. So I'm like, all right, well, do you already have that position? They're like, no, we want you to create it. Can you tell us how much you want to make? Blah, 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 blah. I thought it was a joke. I said, man, this is spam. So I ended up hitting the dude back, and it was legit. You know what I'm saying? They hired me, paid me what I wanted. Everything was good. Started training in LA. Everything was great. But the guy who interviewed me while I was in LA, he got a bunch of new hires. I was supposed to train those new hires, but I'm in LA training on how to train them. Okay. So when I get back from LA to address training them on time, everything, he wasn't my boss, mind you. My boss was with me in LA. He's just the supervisor of the branch that I train at. I get back. I'm like, yeah, let's get started. Whatever. He's mad. Well, why you wasn't here? I'm like, what do you mean why I wasn't here? You had my itinerary. I was in when you get a job, in most cases, you have to train, right? I'm training. I can't help they hired people and brought them in before they trained me. That's not on me. So he gets mad, he yelling. I'm laughing. So I call my boss and say, man, he over here tripping. So he's like, man, just separate yourself, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. I go outside, mind my own business. When the other bosses come up, she say something to me. This motherfucker come running from out the thing. I'm talking about booking. We use booking. I'm old. I'm talking about he was booking. I'm like 300 feet away. He come running up. I'm like, what the fuck wrong with him? So he yelling, I don't know who you think you are, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I ain't said nothing to you, dog. So I'm standing like this, talking to the lady, and I tell him these exact words. I said, if you get any closer to me, I'm going to beat your ass, period. Because at this time, I'm feeling threatened. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, I'm laughing at him. When I'm saying I'm going to beat your ass, I'm laughing because I'm like, he's going to get his ass beat. I don't even know why he ran up on me. So I say that, the lady like, oh, we're going to squash it. I leave. I get called the same day with him on the phone, the other dude who interviewed me, and the HR lady, and they said they terminated me. I've done HR forever. There's no way in fuck the person who I got into it with is supposed to be on the phone with me for an HR event. So we go back and forth for about a week. They end up giving me my severance pay, whatever. And at that time, I was like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? I'd been at the job maybe 3 months. Everything was going great. We had pension set up, benefits, everything was back on point. It's like, okay, cool. I'm back working at the county again. Had my own hours. I would go when I wanted to type that. It was perfect. Get fired. Everybody like, man, how you fuck that up? Typical shit. I'm like, I didn't fuck it. I didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm grown. I'm not going to argue with y'all. 2 weeks after being fired is when Mike Marshall called me about the dispensary thing, bro.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. Period. Like, like Mike, most of this stuff going on right now. Like I say it's path walking. I didn't know the path I was walking on, but it was meant for me to like, what are the odds of me with all my history winning a dispensary license, third ball in the chamber, one of the 4 remaining, and it just so happened to open a dispensary in the same zip code I caught my case in.
Yeah. Come on, but real talk though, Elon Musk needs to know that one of his former employees is out here, Tucky Blunt. That like real talk, First Social Equity. Elon, man, if you listening, man, I feel like you need to put some money up with Blunt.
Hey man, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
Hey. Seeing you smoking on Joe Rogan.
Hey man, I'm trying to tell you. I seen that. Like it was like I said, when I looked up the stuff on the social equity program, it was on the laptop that I got from Tesla. I tried to give it back to him, they wouldn't take it. I was like, well, shit. Call my homeboy, hey, reprogram this motherfucker, please. Thank you. So, you know what I'm saying? I still have that laptop to this day. And it shows me every time I look at that laptop, I don't say it to nobody, but it lets me know like nothing can stop me. Y'all fired me for no apparent reason. And the next month later, I got action at a dispensary. And then 2 months later, I win that dispensary. And then a year later, I open that dispensary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you can't write this shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't have told, like if I tell people this with all the history, they're like, damn, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even got to all the people I done sold weed to and trapped with all my years of trapping, like the who's who of trappers I've trapped with. You know what I'm saying? Like, so man, to have all that and then to be where I am now is humbling, but just keeping it a band is what I've always been doing. So it's why not me?
Yeah. And, one of the things you mentioned was, like you said, the officer that was the same one that had arrested you back then, like you work with him now. Talk about that a little bit more, man.
Oh, man.
How did you get comfortable where you was like, hey.
Okay, so when I got arrested, the day I got arrested, like I said, it was a Thursday. When he pulled up, he said, we got a phone call that a white over gold LTD has a gun and weed in it. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You lying. This is my first interaction with the police, mind you, regarding weed. I've been pulled over before, but regarding specifically weed and potentially catching a case, it's my first interaction with them in 8 years of selling weed. So one of the cops who I work with now too, the second cop, he came around my car and was gonna bust out my window to get in my car because my doors was locked. And I was outside the car. Had I known what I know now, I'd have just walked away and got in my car because there was nothing they could do to me. I wasn't in my car. You couldn't see nothing, but I didn't know because I never had no police interactions. So right when he finna bust out my window, I'm like, no, fuck it. The gun right there, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of the seat. And I got some weed, cookies, and like 8 bags in the trunk. Now, had he came about 2 hours earlier, oh yeah, I'd have went down. But what I had was literally what I smoked, you know, or that's what I told him. I was like, well, I had 8 bags. I got 10 years of felony probation, a 4-way search clause for 8 bags of weed. And a registered firearm, registered to the address right across the street from where he arrested me. Had my gun card on me and everything, but it was because my gun wasn't in the case, and then I had the weed in the trunk. So they coupled them together. All right, so when he does this, I get in the car with him and the other cop. I'll get to their names later because this is hilarious. So we driving downtown Oakland. I tell him like, hey man, because he also asked me when he came, like, if you got any more information for us, we'll let you go. I don't have nothing to tell you, dog, but just take me downtown. So we going downtown. I'm like, man, I start working for Alameda County Monday morning. He kind of like brushed it off, whatever. I get to jail. I'm in there, and I already know the main reason I didn't grind on the turf like that is because I don't like going to jail. I don't like penis. There's no need for me to be in a jailhouse. You know what I'm saying? So soon as I got there, can y'all bail me out, please? The bail is how much? All right, cool. Go get that from under the mattress. My granny wouldn't take the money. She just put up her house and just bailed me out. Now, this is the granny house in front of that I called my case at. And I tried to, even until she passed, she wouldn't take the money back. Shout out Nanny, but she bailed me out. So when I bail out, I start work Monday morning. Coming downstairs, 401 Broadway. Man. First person I see when I'm coming downstairs for lunch, walking upstairs, is the arresting officer. I said, bro, I told you I work for the county. He looked at me like, whoa. So that's just one thing. Okay. Fast forward. June 1st, May 31st, June 1st of last year, the whole cannabis industry was under siege behind the George Floyd murder. Even though it wasn't behind his murder, these were just niggas being idiots, whatever. So they broke in my store. 2 days later, all the dispensary owners in Oakland was on a phone call with Oakland PD because Oakland PD left us for dead. So we wanted to know why. We pay taxes for police. Why the fuck y'all leave us for dead? My store was ransacked for 10 hours straight that night. Dang. So we get on the call. I'm looking, you can see all the names on the side of the screen for the Zoom. I'm like, damn, I know that name. I'm like, no. So when we go introductions, I say who I am. And I say, as fate will have it, the guy who's the captain of the OPD on this call, he's my arresting officer. Man, the whole Zoom was like, so from that day forward, we have been chopping it up. I find out that the other arresting officer, so the rest of my arresting officer is Randy Wingate. Shout out to Randy Wingate. So once we got reconnected, I sent him my police report, all the shit. He remembered it and everything. He was like, he said, I remember getting the call, saying to pull up over there. He said, but I was just doing my job. And I respected that. Like, you were doing your job. We had police in our area, like Parkinson and Mingette. They used to come around and fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? T. Jones, certain cops came and fuck with you. He wasn't one of them. He was one of the cops that was kind of like in the community type shit. You feel me? So we reflect on that. We laugh, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh man, Ursi, the other cop, Ursi Joyner, shout out Ursi. He's a cannabis security firm business owner now. So we chopping it up. Everything, we came full circle. So I'm going through my processes of trying to clear my name. I thought I cleared my name in 2013. I paid all my restitution, went to court to have everything sealed and expunged, but the judge only sealed some of my stuff. And I didn't know this. So when I went to go get a firearm again, they're like, nah, bro, you can't. I'm like, why? What did I do now? So I'm going back and forth with the Department of Firearms, DOJ. They can't figure it out. Calling Alameda County. They can't figure it out. So me and my wife talking about this just happened about a month ago. I'm like, hey, maybe I should call Randy and see if he got any connection at the DA. She's like, you know what? It don't hurt. I called Randy. He said, yeah, I got somebody working at the DA for 24 years. I'm going to reach out to him, tell him, I know you, and see if they can get you on calendar. Not only did she get me on calendar, shout out Dan Gill, got me on calendar. All I had to do was go sign 2 pieces of paper. And then they emailed me the day of the court date because I didn't have to go to a court date. I didn't have to walk in or nothing. I'm officially Charlie Valid, all sealed. Everything is gone, all behind the same cop who arrested me, dog.
That's dope.
Bruh, I'm really doing what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit, like that doesn't happen if that's not how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Like a chance encounter on a turf, coming back from a shooting range, getting snitched on by the nigga you went to the shooting range with, ends up getting arrested by a cop who then, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, T. Like,
yeah. But you know, and speaking of that experience, man, and this is something that I wanted to, that I've been wanting to talk to you about that I haven't got the chance to. And I think it's important now, especially because shout out to Georgia. It looks like Democrats about to take the Senate. But I'll say one of the things that means for cannabis is that the MORE Act, which already passed through the House, now probably has a good chance of passing through the Senate.
Yes.
One of the things about the MORE Act that I didn't like as it got down close to it is like the day before, I remember hearing like they put this thing in there saying that if you have a felony for cannabis, then you're not able to get this federal cannabis license that they're going to do. And it literally first thing I thought, I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
I was like, my man Tucky, I was like, like people like that is going to take them straight out the business. So like, talk a little bit about social equity a little bit, and you know why things like that did not make sense if we're really trying to create an equitable industry. Like people that
I would say like this: the reason why that was put in there is because the people that are making these decisions have never been in the cannabis space, so they don't give a fuck. To them, it's all about a dollar. It's all about legalizing federally, so big pharma can come in and do A, B, and C. But social equity matters, but it only matters if it's done right. You know what I'm saying? You can't just throw out a couple licenses and say, okay, we've done social equity. No, we need to be equally at the table like the honkies. I mean, let's call it what it is. We went to jail for all of this shit for so many years. Families tore apart, all kind of shit. Now it's legal, and y'all see that y'all can make money. Same lawmakers who was against it are now on boards of cannabis companies. And you're making these decisions, but these decisions are only crafted towards you. Social equity is important because if they're crafted right, they're crafted toward us because we're the ones that's being fucked over. You know what I'm saying? Social equity, like I say all the time, just needs education and funding, period. It needs education from people that are in the space, guiding these, lobbyists and these, councilmen, the people that we vote for. You got to get in there and talk to them and see where their heads at on this. Because if you vote for them, they don't give a fuck. There's not going to be a social equity. You understand what I'm saying? But we so focused on the presidential elections. The presidential elections are already set by all the other elections prior to that. Your state, your local, your county. And social equity would never get the fair shake it's supposed to get as long as the decisions are being made by people that's not in the space, bro. And I'm not talking about me. There's plenty of people y'all can talk to that got knowledge. Just perfect example, the taxes. Oakland has the highest taxes anywhere for cannabis. In their mind, we're making more money by having more taxes. No, if you lower the taxes, I can sell way more product, which will make you way more money. But they don't understand something that simple because they've never hustled before. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you have to have people just at the table and at the meeting. Y'all need to the government needs to somehow come up with a way to hire on cannabis, advocates, a part of their program to help them craft these laws, not just bring us into a table and take notes, like actually have us sitting over you while you're writing these bullshit laws, dog. You feel me? Like that's what it's going to take for social equity to really do what it needs to do, because how can you make an act where you say felons can't get into space? And that's the whole point of legalization, because if y'all took us to jail and gave us felonies for this plant, but now it's legal, but then you tell me I don't have no action at it. You fucked off my life with something you're now making money off of. That's America, bro. that's America, but we got to fix that. Granted, cannabis has come really far since 2012. You know what I'm saying? Since the legal, since Colorado, et cetera, et cetera. But even them, they didn't have a social equity program because for them, it wasn't about us. Cannabis legalization is not about us. It's about how they can get rich. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta fix that. We gotta be willing to go sit down and talk to these people, go to these meetings. Like me personally, I have to get better at going to meetings, but I'm kind of worn thin. Plus, that's not really my lane. I more so want to be at the office, in the room, over them. I can go to meetings when I can, but I mean, let's just keep it. Man, I got 5 kids. Life.
In business, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People, it's a lot of stuff going on. So, but there's enough of us out there that we should be out there. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'll put it on me too. I got to do better with that too. But it's just where I am right now. I am in that sense being pulled too thin to be at every council meeting, every this. Plus, again, I don't live in Oakland anymore. So I got to commute to out there, do that all while still being a father, blah, blah, blah. And it's hard. But my voice is heard. I'm on email threads with people. I'm on certain boards. I'm doing my stuff behind the scenes, but we just need more. We just need more, bro.
Right. And like you said, I know that even though and that's that's dope that you have been able to, be able to, heck, get your Fresh Prince on, man, move out the hood, right, but still come back.
Right.
And I know that you're always still supporting, right? Like, like earlier this summer, talk a little bit about that event, because I thought that really was dope to see how you stepped up. And
man,
talking about you, but you pulled so many.
Pulled everybody. Yeah. So shout out to Weed Maps, Saucy, Burner for sure. We got robbed. I had two ways I could have reacted to that. I could have been angry, or I could have been cool. I sat there and watched people run through my store, literally watched with my own two eyes for 4 hours on my camera, just watched on my phone, like for 4 hours straight, like it was a movie. Droves of people coming in and out my store. And I think I got maybe 30 minutes of sleep that night. And when I woke up, it was just like, be positive, bro. Make a statement and be positive. And that's what I did. I just got up, I made the post. I'm like, don't retaliate, educate. I didn't think nothing of it. I literally made up that line while I was on the live. And then I was like, man, we got to put something together, make some money for the other people that got hit. And I called Camille, who works at Weed Maps, told him about it. He was like, man, I think that's, that sounds dope. And then I called Burner. Me and Burner have been trying to get in contact with each other. We had met once, and we got a lot of the same linked associates, but we had never really got to really dive in because just keep it a band, because this is something we've all talked about, this public knowledge. I got friends that don't fuck with him. And my thing is, he didn't do nothing to me. But prior to meeting him, I didn't fuck with him either. You know what I'm saying? Because my friend didn't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. And once I got to, thinking, I was like, bruh, I can't be like that. Because what my thing is, if you don't fuck with him, if y'all not finna fight, it really ain't no problem. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can agree to disagree. But if you saying you got a problem with a person, to me, a problem means I want to fight you. It's on site whenever I see you. So if it's not like that, then quit saying y'all have a problem. So called him. We got on the phone. His first thing he said, other than, man, I'm sorry to hear that, blah, blah, blah. He told me about shit that happened to him that didn't get reported, as far as like cookies and how much they really lost that he didn't report. And he was like, man, I want to help on some more. I want to give y'all some money, a nice chunk of money. You know what I'm saying? 5-digit worth of money. And I was like, thanks, but let's get out to the people. Let's figure out a way to get out to the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got insurance. I'll be able to bounce back. I'm thinking about everybody else. And he was like, let's go. And I just got on the phone. First person I called on my celebrity list, well, my friend list, I called Scarface and I called Dwayne Wiggins. And I have both of them on three-way. Well, actually, I called Scarface first, like, hey, this is what I'm putting together. And like, the list goes on to people I call, like, hey, I'm putting this together. I need 5 minutes of your time. I'm raising money for A, B, and C. Nobody told me no. I had one person ask for money, and I was like, I'm not giving up any money. No problem, no harm, no foul. Called Face Mob. Face Mob was like, Blunt, what you need me to do? I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to reach out to ABC. He like, man, I need to talk to D. Wiggins. I called Dwayne Wiggins on three-way. I had to put my phone down. Them motherfuckers was on my phone for like 2 hours just talking. So they ended up coming up with what they did. And it was just good to see the whole space come together, bro. We raised, I want to say almost 35, 40,000, 30, something like that, about 35,000. And it all went back to other shops. Mm-hmm. None of that money came to Blunt some more, not a dollar. And it felt good to be able to do that. Now, had I known what was going on with my insurance behind my fucking ex-partner, I would have took some of that money. But, it was meant for me to do what I did. With you not being angry made me not angry. It made me want to educate, you know what I'm saying, instead of retaliate. Because, like, literally, bro, the whole cannabis industry got robbed that night. Like, if it was green, it was getting fucked with. You know what I'm saying? And there were people, like a lot of my friends, I got a bunch of calls that night. Like, bro, what's up? We went to the store right now. We got pistols. We ready to go. I'm like, no. Why you not there with the pistol? Why? So if somebody gets killed on Blunt and More site behind one of my homies or me killing them, it kills the whole equity program. Because that's what they're going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to talk about. Oh, first social equity store news outlets has never mentioned social equity. Gonna mention it then. If something had happened on my site, I didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that would have been good. And like I said, I didn't do that for no pub or no like, oh man, look at him. It was literally in that moment. I'm like, y'all don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't, you know, if you see some of my weed on the streets, don't buy it, but don't do nothing to the people. Cause I literally had people that was sending me videos of people that they knew that had some of the weed and they was ready to go pull up on them. Now y'all both in jail. You know what I'm saying? They're both dead. That don't help nothing. Now the positivity has led to like, you know, interviews talking about the positivity. So I think it worked out. It was a beautiful event. We had at least 40 artists on there, the who's who, you know what I mean, talking about cannabis, showing love, playing music. It was dope. We're looking forward to do it again. Like people reached out. What's so funny is we had a couple companies reach out to Weed Maps about throwing it again, doing it in LA, doing it in Chicago, doing it in Detroit. But they reached out to Weed Maps not knowing I put that thing together. Like that was my baby, my idea. And then I hit my people up to help form it together. But the Weed Maps had to call me. Like, Tucky, we got some people, you know, thinking about you interested? Yeah. But they had to call me. You know what I'm saying? And that's now the words getting out like, oh, you put that together? Like, yeah, man, from my bed.
Well, it's dope to see the way that people like rallied around supporting Black business and minority businesses. And speaking of that, like I'm sure like I've definitely seen a lot of people have been supporting Blunts and More. So like where you were talking about like a celebrity trap list, who are some of the people that have showed love to Blunts and More that have kind of come through some of the dopest people?
Oh my gosh, bro, it's too many lists. I mean, it's a trip because when you say Black-owned dispensary, that should trigger something. You should want to pull up on that. And that's kind of like that's been the attitude it's been. Like I don't really have like a biggest person type thing that I've met, but I will say I have met friends that are lifetime friends now. Like literally, I can hang up right now and call Brad. He's going to answer. He's like, "What's up, Blunt? What you doing?" I can call Dennis Scott. You know what I'm saying? I just talked to him yesterday for damn near an hour. Like I've made lifetime friends just by being in the space, just by being real and who I am. Montel Williams was pretty dope. Him coming to the shop. I mean, all my NBA dudes, ex-NBA dudes, that's always dope. But trying to think if I had to pick one that was like that actually, that was in the store that was just like truly, truly, truly dope. Yeah, it'll probably be Face.
Yeah, I mean,
Just because, you know what I'm saying? Like E40's known about the store. His son has been to the store, but he hasn't been. Too Short hasn't been. He knows about the store. And I think that's just something with the Bay Area. I don't know. It's weird. Like the Bay, maybe that's everywhere, but the Bay, some of the elites may not show love to you until someone else shows love type thing, but whatever. But for me to have Face Mob come in my store, talk to me for 5 minutes, and then end up again. This is the first time I met him. The second time, well, we had been talking when he talked to Dwayne Wiggins, but the first time I met Scarface and we got together, he called his wife to have me meet her over the phone. Then he took my phone and called Be Legit from my phone. You know what I'm saying? Talked to Be Legit while he was at the store. Like, so for me, as a diehard fan of Scarface, one of my GOATs in just all time, to be able to have his phone number, one, to be talking to his wife, two, to go to the show with him that same night or the next night, and then to just have a relationship, like we have a genuine like that. That's one of my big ones is Face. Like that's still dope to me now, even talking about like I'm a friend of Scarface's. Like that shit crazy.
Yeah, man. Yo, and you doing so much, man, and it's dope how you're putting on, man. Like for you, like what advice do you really have for what do you say is the most important thing for like people that really want to get in this game or this business? What's most important? What's the biggest thing you learned, man, that you would share?
Research for one. Quit coming in asking how do I get in the space, and figure out what you want to do in the space. Figure out what works for you, what you're good at. And this is just with any job. This is not just with cannabis. This is anything. Figure out what you're good at, and then figure out if that works for the cannabis space. Quit looking for people for just free advice. Don't get me wrong. I give up a lot of game. I don't have no problem sharing what I can, but have the decency to do some research on your own. That's like, I mean, there's a lot of advice, things I can give, but right now on the tip of my tongue, right now, for people that are trying to get into space, do your research. Find out what works for you, because there's so much you can do in this space besides plant touching, besides growing and selling. The word is ancillary. There's so many other things. If you don't want to use ancillary, there's so many other things you can get into the cannabis space besides growing and selling. You can be podcasting. You can do artwork for cannabis. You can do sundries, lighters. Like there's anything you can think of that can be done in a business, cannabis needs. So if you can do any of that, figure out what that lane is and attack it. But quit coming to these clubhouses, quit coming up to people and quit emailing and quit IG inboxing saying, hey, I need help getting into space. Dude, I am deleting all of those. Period. Now, if you have a little more substance to it and you can kind of like say, hey, I've done A, B, and C, blah, 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 I'll move that to my primary. You know what I'm saying? I'll look at it. I'll like it or something. You know what I'm saying? I may even reply depending on the depth of it. If you inbox me, or a matter of fact, anybody else, quit doing that. I want to know how to get into space. I can't help you there because I don't know what the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? And that's not being an asshole. That's just being honest. Like, how can I help you if you don't know what you want to do? Yeah. And then if you do say, hey, I want to grow, hey, I want to sell, well, let me explain to you why these are the two hardest things to do. Growing and selling weed are the two hardest things to do. Everybody can't sell weed. Everybody can't grow weed, period. And that's even on the street shit. You know what I'm saying? So if that's not you, that's not you. And to keep it honest with you, those are the two least most making money things going on right now, because you have to have everything so fine-tuned for the grow, and you got to spend so much money into it. Same thing with the dispensary. Like, just keep it a band. Dispensary owners aren't rich people. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
That's calling. Hold on. Let me see what she wants.
All right.
I got to take this. What's up, baby? In one of my interviews, I'm on live. You calling me? No, it's cool. You cool? You okay? Okay, I'll call you right back. She sounded angry.
Life happy life, man.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, no, that's my advice, bro. Is just, man, do your research, man. Quit getting at people just for some free advice, man. We're this is a business, and our time is our money. You know what I'm saying? So if we're gonna sit down and spend time with you, we want to make sure that you on your shit.
Yep. And that's important that you said that too, that even as a dispensary owner, that is still a grind and it's still a hustle. Because I think of the narrative that's out there a lot, people think like, oh, I got a dispensary. Now I'm a multi-millionaire.
I'm rich.
Billionaire. And
no. It's a business. People have to understand that no businesses make profit year one, year two, maybe even year three. So how am I rich if I made no profit? Like, but that's where the research come in. That's where, man, granted, I do want as many of us in the space as possible because we need to be in the space. But one, you got to do research. You got to train. You got to know what you're doing, because if we just all get in the space just for the sake of getting in the space, it's going to fuck up the space. And then they're going to be like, we told you. These niggas didn't know what they was doing. And you know, in the industry, that's what they waiting on. And we can't have that.
Real talk, man. For sure, bro. I appreciate you coming through, man. I know it's 2021, man. It's a lot of opportunities in new places, legalization. What's next for Tucky and Blunts and More, man?
I'm trying to franchise. I'm still on that. I still want to have Blunts and Moores in every state that has legal cannabis. They should have an equity program, and that flagship store should be Blunts and More. Working on some stuff with Viola to try to kind of like synergize that to where if they got the licenses and I have the brand as a store, they have a brand as, you know, a cannabis lifestyle company. Let's merge them, you know what I'm saying, and figure out how to do that effectively while repping both brands. And that's the kind of stuff I'm on. Like, I just taking the vertical model everywhere, you know what I'm saying, and employing, you know, like from our security, from our janitorial, from our employees, just employing us, our distros, anything I can think of that's Black is, or, you know, people of color, even though I hate that term, but whatever. As much that as I can employ and network with is what I'm working on. States wise, it's shit, Oklahoma, New Jersey, Arizona, wherever. I'm tuned in, waiting for the stuff to drop so we can get on. So that's what I'm on, bro.
Man. You already know, man. But you know, I'm definitely trying to follow your model, man, in Jersey back home, man. So
you know, I'm coming. Shout out to Big Horse and Sway, man. We trying to get some cannabis lounges out there, man. So we working.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. Well, it's always dope rapping with you, and thanks
always,
man. Tell everybody where they can find you and Blunts and More online.
check me out at Tucky Blunt, TUCKY 80 at Tucky Blunt 80 on Instagram. Blunt some more is BLUNTSANDMOORE at Blunt some more. The website is under construction, so don't go there right now. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on Twitter as Blunt Tucky. And yeah, shout out to all the people that fuck with me, all my families, my Violas, my Seven Leaves, my Media 34, my Weed Maps family. Shout out all the social equity holders. Shout out Burners on Hate, my boy Sean. Yeah, just man, shout out everybody that's trying to do this in the space and do it the right way. We appreciate it.
Hey man, appreciate you, big dog. And we're gonna wrap soon. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
thanks for tuning in with us. Peace.
Man, thanks.